Just recently, we started the dynamic testing of the KiwiRail tunnels. And I just thought I would take you through a little bit of a journey to explain what the dynamic testing process is all about. So as you appreciate, in the wider network, we have a hand and glove relationship between the rolling stock, which operate on the network, and our infrastructure and our systems, which manage the movement of that rolling stock. So during that process, we have to look at the rolling stock itself and go through what's called a running rights process, where we look at the train and we look at how it was going to interact with the infrastructure and make sure that it's compatible. So KiwiRail does that process and has issued interim running rights for the EMU trains to run within the tunnel. The other side of the equation is the certificate of train running. So in that process, KiwiRail's been involved with Link Alliance, certifying and reviewing all of the infrastructure, the traction power and the signals and so on, to make sure that the design and the build is all compatible. But the proof really happens once we enter the dynamic testing phase. That is when we get the trains and we start moving them into the tunnels, and we start moving them through that infrastructure to test them. So that's when we validate the track network and make sure that that's compatible. We validate the signalling system and the traction power and our train radio systems and all that. And this is that's the proof that actually then genuinely proves that the KiwiRail is starting to be ready for operations. The next stage of the dynamic testing then starts looking at multi-train running. So now we look at starting to move more trains within the network and within the KiwiRail to really prove that it can handle those more trains. Then we look at the train and station interface. We start looking at emergency evacuation scenarios and so on. And then the final step is when we look at the stress testing, where we start looking to simulate what the higher intensity timetable and train movements will be. Once we've completed all of those stages, which will take a fair amount of time, we've got something in the order of about 8,000 tests to run through and validate, we'll then be able to certify with a new certificate of train running that the KiwiRail tunnels are ready for operations.